Before this video starts, I'd like to say that I've got a really exciting announcement coming up, so make sure to check it out when I release it. Also, I'll briefly repeat some of the important details about Vector's history, but if you want the full story, you'll have to watch my video on the Vector M12. With that out of the way, let's get started. The Vector W8 was arguably Vector's peak in regards to their success. It was the successor to the Vector W2 and was the first Vector to somewhat be produced and sold consistently. From 1989 to 1993, 17 units were available to sale for the public and 2 pre-production models were made. The Vector W8 features a twin-turbo 6-liter V8 engine. It produces a whopping 650 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque, which is very powerful in regards to the time period it was made in. The car could do 0 to 60 in just 4 seconds. And at a top speed of 218 miles an hour. The W8 also accomplished all this with a 3-speed automatic transmission, which only makes me wonder how bulletproof and insane that transmission must have been to achieve these numbers. Also, I just have to make a brief mention that I don't hate automatic transmissions. For some reason, some people think I do. With regard to that, I just have to say, drive whatever you like. Anyways, this automatic transmission was sourced from Oldsmobile, and the engine was sourced from Chevrolet, originally being a 5.7-liter V8. The car's design was considered strange to many, but also strikingly beautiful. The W8 has a very wedge-shaped front that is very small compared to most cars of the time. It has side mirrors that are angled downward in order to keep its streamlined and aerodynamic appearance. The car was constructed mostly out of carbon fiber, and it had a semi-aluminum monocoque chassis. It was hand-built and took Vector several months to finish building one. Out of the 2 pre-production models, one was given to Andre Agassi, who was warned not to drive his car, and only display it as it was not completed. Despite this warning, he drove it anyway and ended up with a W8 with massive overheating issues. Despite this result being due to his incompetence, Vector still received bad press, and ultimately refunded Agassi and finished building his W8. The car was intended to be sold for around $250,000, but it unfortunately got marked upwards to $455,000 even. Today, the car can be found at auctions upwards of $1 million. Though this car doesn't carry as much respect nowadays. In the past, it was renowned as one of America's first supercars capable of taking it to Ferrari, Jaguar, and even Bugatti. It was deemed as one of the fastest production cars ever produced, as the W8 had specs that could rival the F40, XJ220, and EB110. Unfortunately, the car was doomed to fade into obscurity as its initial release was met with poor public reception due to Andre Agassi's model overheating. This fate was furthered when McLaren went on to produce the F1 in 1993, which would become the world's fastest production car by a large margin, completely outshining the performance from the Vector W8. Unlike the W8, the McLaren F1 would go on for the years to come, with success after success, whereas the W8 was shelved in order for Gerald Wiegert to focus on making his next prototype, the WX3. If you've already watched my M12 video, you already know what happens with that plant. If you haven't, then here's a brief rundown. Due to financial trouble, Vector was purchased by an Indonesian company called Megatech that then forced Gerald Wiegert out of his own company. The WX3 prototype instead became the Vector M12, which would be the car to end Vector's successful status as an American supercar manufacturer. His misfortune continued as when Megatech finally abandoned Vector, they had to pay a debt to Lamborghini. This debt was paid by giving them Gerald Wiegert's personal Vector W8 to Lamborghini as compensation. Gerald Wiegert went to court and won the case. However, Lamborghini refused to give him his W8 back, and to this day, Gerald Wiegert has yet to receive his W8 back. Gerald Wiegert was someone who was ambitious enough to chase his outrageous dreams, and just when success couldn't feel more satisfying, he was hit with a huge wave of misfortune. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't worry, I'll try my best to make my next few Forgotten Supercar videos more upbeat and happy. If you like an automotive channel that uploads regularly, then make sure to subscribe, like this video, and share it with friends. Other than that, thanks for watching, Blade Angel out.